Hello everyone, my name is Ariel Furman, and in this video we're going to cover Excel pivot tables, which are incredibly powerful for converting data into information that is usable. Pivoting means that we can pivot from rows to columns and vice versa easily in order to make sense of the data without changing it. Here's a data set of bike accessory sales. We have the product ID, category name, subcategory, shipping status, input date, cost to me, and the price I am selling the accessory at. We can see all of this data, but it's difficult to comprehend. In this video, we'll be creating 2 reports with pivot tables to understand our shipping and profitability over a 2-month period. The first pivot table gives information about shipping. This is what it will ultimately look like. The rows are the category and subcategory, and the columns are the shipping status. The cell values represent the count of the categories and subcategories of each shipping status. At the top, I have a year-month filter to help me narrow down the data. This table is 4-dimensional because it is grouped by 4 fields: category, subcategory, shipping status, and year-month. But to really appreciate the pivot table, I'll show you what it's like to sort this data without one. A simplified version of the shipping table would perhaps be limited to helmets and baskets, and the shipping statuses: shipped, delivered, ordered, and canceled. I'll need to filter out my helmets first, however. Then I'll filter out the shipping status. Shipped helmets are 3. Delivered helmets, just 1 of them. Ordered helmets, just 1. And there's no option for canceled, which indicates that there are 0. Let's clear out that filter. Now for the baskets. If I have a small table, I might just be able to count the different statuses, and that might just be easier. I have 0 shipped, 2 delivered, 1 ordered, and 0 canceled. But that took a lot of time for a very simple task with very little data. And I haven't even begun sorting by subcategories, dates, or profit calculations. Imagine how much time it would take for all of those, and for an accurately sized set of data numbering in thousands of rows and columns. And people do this all the time because they don't know how to use pivot tables. So with that fresh sense of appreciation for pivot tables, go ahead and select the first cell within the dataset. Go to the Insert tab, under Tables, Pivot Table. The Create Pivot Table window has popped up, and the dataset that Excel has automatically selected is correct. If it's not, you can just select the first cell and press Ctrl, Shift, right arrow, and down arrow. I would like to place the pivot table report in the new worksheet, so press OK. Looking at the top right of the pivot table fields that have appeared is a list of my dimensions. These are my categories for the data. I can drag them into the quadrants below to begin organizing them. And a very simple table might have only 1 field under rows and 1 under columns, but we can do even more than that. A pretty basic table might have category under rows and the shipping status under columns. But this table is empty with a list of categories and shipping status. I'd like to see the number of orders in each category per shipping status. So I'll drag the category into values. The automatic value of category is count, or the number of. I can change the value calculation by clicking Count of Category and Value Field Settings. With count, each cell represents the number of orders per category per shipping status. For example, I have 2 baskets that have been delivered, and 2 bike locks that have also been delivered, as well as 1 helmet. But going back to the original dataset, it's much more difficult to find this information. To do so, I would need to sort through the categories to find my baskets, then sort through the shipping status to just find those that have already been delivered. That's far more work than using the table. And to use the filter for each category would be very time-consuming. I can further break down this table by also dragging subcategory into rows. This gives us the product shipping status by both category and subcategory. We can see that our rows are now made up of the category and subcategory names, and the columns are still the shipping status. Once I've added the subcategory field, category subtotals should appear. Looking at the bike locks, I can see that I have had one of each kind shipped, which results in 3 of the category total. Next, I'm going to filter out my table by the date through year and month. I want to know which products I sold in each month. So I've dragged year and month into filters. And as you can see, a filter has appeared at the top of the page. I'll select it and press select multiple items. I'm really just interested in the January of 2020. So I'll select that. And now the category and subcategory counts that appear are only counting the sales from January. If I go back to the original data set and filter it out, let's first remove our original filters that we put in. If I filter it out by 2022, February, I'll see that these are all the dates that on all the sales that I will not be counting. Now I'm going to build a second table focused on profits. And it will look like this when finished. I use the pivot table to calculate the profit per category and subcategory rather than sorting through the data set and writing formulas. I'm going to go back to the bike accessory sales worksheet and create another pivot table. First, I'll clear out this filter, go to Insert and Pivot Table. Start with a category under rows, and I'd like to further subdivide that with subcategory. For values, I will select cost and price. Cost is the cost to me, and price is how much I'm willing to sell it for. Subtracting the cost from the price will give my profit, but rather than use a formula directly in the cell, I'm going to add a dimension to the pivot table. Select the cell in the table, go to the Analyze tab, and under Calculations, select Fields, Items, and Sets. Calculated field. I'll name this Profit, and the formula will be Price, Insert Field, minus the Cost, Insert Field. Upon adding, this dimension will be added to the pivot table field selection on the right. Click OK. Now I have the profit both per category and subcategory. To have accomplished the same thing in the original worksheet, I would have to create a formula. Price minus cost. But the problem is this only gives the profit per item, not per category or subcategory. So if I wanted to filter out my category by helmets, and perhaps the subcategory by kids, I would get my 2 individual profit results, but it doesn't sum them. So I need to do another formula, sum, and I get an answer of $9. That was definitely inefficient, but it should still be accurate. Let's validate it against our pivot table. We'll go to helmets and kids, and that gives me a $9 profit, although this is a much faster way of doing it. To expand or collapse the entire table, I will need to go either to my category or subcategory, select that, go to my Analyze tab, And under active field, I can either expand or collapse. Collapsing really simplifies this table. I'm going to go ahead and format these numbers into the accounting format by going to Home and under the Number section, typing in accounting. I hope this helped you with your pivot tables. As always, feel free to ask questions in the comments below if you need any help. Till next time.